What's up, everybody, and welcome to a Thursday edition of Morning Cuppa Hockey presented by Bet365. Whatever your bet is, it's never ordinary at Bet365. And we are also presented by Parasso, the most complete choice for shaving and beard care, made in Italy since 1948. Parasso has been a staple of Italian culture and barbershops globally for 4 generations, so get 15% off at Parasso-USA.com with our promo code Hockey15. In all caps, Hockey15. That's Colby Cohen. I'm Johnny Lazarus, and we got a great show for you today to end the week. This week went by so fast. We got Andrew Raycroft coming on here in about 5 minutes. Then we got Stepan coming on at around 9:45. So 2 big hitters, 2 big time guests, on today's show. Fired up for it. Colby, how you doing this morning? Different backdrop for you.
Are you a little tired this morning? You're
yeah, I was pretty wasted last night, honestly.
I was just gonna say I have a feeling you want to tell everyone about your evening last night.
Yeah, I went to an awesome event working in hockey. My buddy Nick Bowens has done a great job building this account. If anyone doesn't know what it is, Nick has a LinkedIn page, Instagram, and really just kind of provides a great service for young kids to find jobs, make connections. It's like a hockey LinkedIn essentially on social media. And last night is that
the Instagram I'll see where it'll show like jobs this week in hockey or whatever? That comes up on my popular page sometimes. So I have seen that before.
He posts like literally every single job that is available in hockey. It's amazing. Like I told Nick, and a lot of people told Nick, if I had this tool when I was, 20 years old, 21 years old, it would have been so much easier to navigate. But there was 85 people at the Devils game last night. He had like an hour and a half little like meet and greet for, kids. Some people brought their resumes. Some guy flew in from Toronto. Like I saw Dylan Lepresti and Matt Mugno there, 2 of our listeners. And Dylan just wrote in the chat, he can confirm Johnny's girlfriend is a real person because Emily came with me. But I didn't eat any dinner last night, and I had a couple of surf sides, and I was wasted. Like by the third period, I was honestly like chirping the Devils in the crowd, which I feel bad for now because the Devils have been so kind enough to invite me to their staff skates. I went yesterday, and I'm going back tomorrow, which has been a lot of fun. So I've skated with like Zajac, Andy Green, Marty Brodeur, Jeremy Colleton. Like those have been a lot of fun. But just really wanted to shout out Nick Bowens. And if you're not following Working in Hockey on Instagram or on LinkedIn, it's really just been incredible what Nick has built. And to see and meet so many new people that obviously want to, find their footing or do something in the hockey world. It was great to just, tell my story, tell my background, and make new connections. So it was really impressive what Nick did last night.
I've FaceTimed with you and Emily before, so I already knew that she was a real person. But the fact that our listeners feel the need to come into our chat, it does show that we have quite the community here. And the people that are coming here every day and arguing with us are people that are deeply invested in everything that we have going on. So I did think it was funny too, because you were texting me about how good Jeremy Colleton was, in those staff games. And it's funny, like playing against him in the American League. He used to play on a line with Rhett Rakshani, who I think Rhett was the 2nd round pick of the Islanders, probably 2006, because he's a year older than I am. And he played on a line with Rakshani, and he was like the skill. And Jeremy Colleton was sort of like the nails. I mean, he was a hard-nosed, heavy forward in the way that he played. Like he had some offensive ability, no doubt, but he was an honest player, not a real fun guy to play against, actually, just because of the way that he forechecked and kind of stayed on you. So cool experience for you. Glad you got to do it, but also not the greatest showing for the New Jersey Devils in that game. I mean, Dallas, the backup goaltender, Jake Ottinger. Right? That's a joke, everyone.
Oh my God, man.
Johnny's been having one of the most public Twitter beefs I've seen, because it's continuing your Twitter beef.
I'm not beefing.
You,
that guy
both
is
of you
like
are
non-stop.
continuing it. You put a video up of you putting him on a shit list. I saw that. So you guys are both still arguing over who's the starting goalie in Dallas, which is like an interesting and not really an interesting debate, but
it's not a debate
nonetheless.
It's not a debate.
Tell you what, Jake Ottinger was pretty good last night, wasn't
Yeah.
he?
He won them the game.
He was pretty damn good last night.
He fully won them the game. Again, like, this is I was pretty drunk watching the game. I didn't necessarily have the full dialed in attention span watching the entire game, but I thought the Devils were the better team from what I saw, and they got goalied, and the big time players for Dallas stepped up. Jason Robertson scored a beautiful goal off a nice give and go with Lindell, and Mika Rantanen puts home a rebound in the third period that seals the deal. The first goal, Heiskanen a snipe too, actually, off of a nice offensive zone cycle. So it was the Dallas big boys getting the job done, and the Devils, again, like, the injuries are just going to continue to hurt them. They've dug themselves into, I don't want to say into a hole now, but they're not safe by any means when it comes to the playoffs. They're like 1 point in now. Also, one of our listeners, one of my Twitter followers, actually DM'd me yesterday and mentioned that this could be the first year where a team with more points could actually miss the playoffs than a team in the Atlantic with less points, just because right now Ottawa's third in the Atlantic with 30 points, and the Islanders have 31 points, and the Islanders are outside because there's five Metropolitan Division teams in the playoff spot right now. But Colby, I don't know if you have anything to say, because we do have Razor waiting here. I don't want to keep him waiting.
No, bring him in, because I do have one more thing to say about the Devils, but we'll talk about it with Razor. I mean, I'm always more interested in his opinion than yours, so let's bring him in.
Okay, cool. Me too. So let's bring Razor on. No ad read. Razor, good morning. Thank you so much for joining us. Well, and Colby, I'll give you that question.
So what I was just going to say, Razor, was as I was watching the New Jersey Devils yesterday, we had Elliot Friedman on the show yesterday. He had some kind of funny comments about Detroit, and I think it got a lot of people fired up. But as I'm watching the Devils last night, and I'm thinking about this whole Quinn Hughes to New Jersey, story that we've all made up. And I mean, I don't think we've just made it up out of thin air. There's a reason we talk about it. But I guess I'm curious, Razor, if you're Luke Hughes, who's signed for the next 8 years at $9.5 million, do you really want some guy to come in and make it so you spend the next 8 years on the second power play? I mean, I don't know. Like, I know it's your older brother, and I know that he's a good player, but you all but assure yourself the second power play for the meat of all of your 20s if you're Luke Hughes, if Quinn ends up a Devil.
It is interesting to dig into that deeper, right? Like the whole dynamic of having three brothers on a team, like the idea that it's just automatic and that's where they all want to go. And again, to spend, they're all going to be there for 8 years, 9 years, 10 years, you assume, but we all know that's not realistic either. You just can't, nobody stays anywhere for 10 or 12 or 13 years unless you're Alex Ovechkin. So it is interesting, the dynamic itself. I don't know the Hughes family at all. I know Dad. He was a coach of mine way back in the day. But I think the idea that it's just automatic that's where they're going, and you make a great point why all three of them would be happy about that. I'm not completely sold on that.
Yeah, I just think that as much as it would be super cool. I mean, I got to play hockey with my older brother 1 year of high school, and it was awesome. I mean, it really was like a memorable year for me at Radnor High School. We won a state championship, so that's like so much fun to do with a sibling. But you're right, you're so competitive, and we've heard all this conversation this year about how Keefe has had to use Hamilton on some games against some opponents on the power play. And Hugh, by the way, I don't buy any
Colby,
of that.
Yeah, Colby's so and
hardcore. I think that's such a just PR spin, because you've got two $9.5 million defensemen and everybody needs their flowers. But I don't know. I was just watching last night, and I was watching Luke Hughes. So I don't think he's been playing great lately. And I just thought, you're sitting here, and obviously it's your family, it's your brother, it's your big brother. He's one of the best players in the game. Like, do you really want to just say, here you go, here's my spot I signed for the next 18 years on the first power play? This was never a topic we planned on talking about with you, Razor, but I don't know, just popped into my head, and I thought it was interesting.
Well, and then the whole team dynamic, right? The organization dynamic, and having three brothers really add something different. And to your point, two guys that essentially do the same thing. Luke Hughes is a much bigger body, but I think it's pretty evident that he's not turning into a shutdown defenseman. in the National League. That's just not what he wants to do or has any intention of doing, and maybe not the skill to do. So you're right. He has aspirations of having 600 points on his resume in 8 years and scoring a point a game and having a Norris Trophy. And basically, well, neither one of, if they're on the same team, one of them can't. So that's important right out of the gates. One of them can't be a Norris Trophy winner, and I assume both of them want to be. So it's it'll be interesting to see how this plays out.
I just want it to be done so we can stop talking about it and speculating. I think it's been every single day it just comes up, but it's like impossible to avoid, right? Like we have to talk about it. But I do want to get into Boston, Razor, and talk about the Bruins just because like now, we're seeing all these crazy contracts. Guys are getting paid a lot of money, and Morgan Geekie's making $5.5 million. He's got 20 goals in 28 games. Like that's got to be the best contract in the NHL right now. No?
Yep, it is. Boston Bruins always have the best contract in the NHL. One way or the other, whoever it is, go all the way back through into the 80s. They've always had the best contract in hockey on their roster. That's what they do, and that's what the players before have set up, and that's what the organization does very well, is recognizing their talent internally early and having those guys on the hook.
I feel like I don't ever remember Bergie making more than like $7 million a year, which when you think about that, it's like, and I know like the cap was different and we should look more at percentage of the cap. But even when you go back to those years and you look at percentage of the cap, you're still getting a bargain when all those guys, Marshy and Bergie, they're all taking $6 million contracts.
Colby, David Krejci and Patrice Bergeron signed $1 million contracts.
Yeah. Wow. What was Tuukka making?
They had $1 million contracts when they had the most wins in National Hockey League history. The guy could have made. They both could have made $11 million on the market. They had.
How does Krejci look? How does Krejci look in the alumni? Is he suiting up for?
No, he doesn't skate. Events? No, he's like done. I don't think he's played at all. But he could. Of course, he could play in the National League and get 55 points tomorrow.
His hands are ridiculous.
Yeah, it's so smart.
What about Jeremy Swayman? What have you seen out of him this year? Like, do we think with Hellebuck, I know we were talking about Ottinger and to start the show a little bit because he played really well last night. Mm-hmm. You think Jeremy Swayman is in the conversation? Because we don't truly know with Hellebuck, right? He's injured. Mm-hmm. We have an idea about the time frame, but you never know how those things can go, right? With goaltenders, like some of those lower body things, I feel like would be more sensitive potentially just because of the fact that you guys have to be crouched for 2 hours during a hockey game. Do you think Jeremy Swayman's play this year has put him in contention if Hellebuck isn't ready to be the starter, or you think that goes to Jake Ottinger off the hop if the players end up going to the Olympics?
I'm not sure if it goes. I don't think they have anybody yet. I think Connor is the MVP and the Vezina Trophy, so that that's hard not to start with. But number two, I think for all of these teams is, and we've seen this historically, is you're going to go with a hot hand at number two, and you're going to start the tournament with what you think you should do or what past performances has told you. But if you lose that first game or someone has a bad performance, I think you go to the hot hand right after that. So I don't think this month has helped Jeremy Swayman in a massive way, other than getting pulled the other night in Detroit. His first bad start since October. It was an incredible month for him. And I think what he did in World Championships goes a long way too. I think that sets him apart just a little bit going in and winning that last season, turning his game around at that tournament has put him in a spot where they would turn to him. Now, but at the end of the day, I think it's still going to depend on what these guys do over the next couple of months. I think that goalie spot for Team USA is very much in the air still. And I don't think we'll know Team Canada goalie, Team USA goalie until 3 or 4 games into that tournament.
Colby, why don't you ask Razor, or I guess I can ask him, but like outside of those big three, and Swayman, Ottinger, Hellebuck, who would be your fourth guy right now if you had to pick one?
Is Thatcher Demko healthy? Is he playing?
No, unfortunately,
No.
we're saying healthy guys because
healthy
Demko's
guys.
healthy.
So I can't pick him now, even if I'm saying hypothetically he gets healthy, and I'm taking him nonstop. And then otherwise, Spencer Knight. Spencer Knight's got the best numbers out of everybody. What he's done this season behind Chicago, getting them in the mix for the playoffs, and he's the youngest one. But it's those five, right? There's no one else.
Nope,
I mean,
there
Joey
isn't anyone
Decort's
else except
it's those five guys.
He said it.
Johnny's argument for Joey Decord is that he gave a great interview at the Winter Classic last year. So, listen, Joey Decord's a good goaltender, but he's just not in that echelon. He's not in that echelon. And we had a big argument about this recently, and I got, it was. Again, the reasoning for it was ridiculous, but
Vic
I
just sent this.
Wait,
I got to show this.
Read it out loud.
No, he just sent this. This was literally Colby just now.
Laughing, smiling. Yeah, he was hoping you'd side with him on that one, Razor.
Yeah, I was fishing.
Let me let's stay with the Bruins here because they have been an interesting story this year, and they've gone through a number of coaches in the last couple of years, which has been different. You haven't seen them do that over going back to when Don Sweeney was the assistant GM. They had some pretty long runs with coaches, and you're obviously covering the team, you're on TV, you're around it. Do you think the coaching and the training camp, because I don't think anybody really expected this team to be good this year outside of the people that sat at the press conference and said they expect them to contend. I think the rest of us said you're full of shit. Do you think what the coaching staff has done, and I know there's obviously new and old on that coaching staff, has helped this team sort of continue to contend and continue to stay around with a roster that is missing the same level of talent as some of the other rosters that are sort of the heavy hitters in the National Hockey League this year?
Of course, coaching matters. It matters a lot in this league. I think you can see that throughout. I think the structure that this team had to play with needed to be overhauled. It really got lost last season, start of training camp. Monty's obviously a great guy, great coach, but it was really leaky from day one. If you go back and look at the goals they were giving up, the neutral zone was just so not good, which ended up into the defensive zone, which just ended up into 7-1, 8-1 losses early in the season, and they never really recovered from that. So Marco Sturm comes in, brings his LA defensive style first. I think you talk about the guys sitting at the press table. I think you have to give them a whole lot more credit in what they brought in and what they envisioned. The Boston Bruins bully every single hockey team they play now. And we've talked so much about the Florida Panthers going through the playoffs and bullying the Boston Bruins do not get bullied anymore. And the piss and vinegar press conference from Cam Neely and everyone, is that really going to translate into wins? Well, it has. It has, because these guys also play a structured system. Tanner Jeannot came from LA. He knows this system well. He knows Marco Sturm well. And you have a third line with Kastelik, Jeannot, and now Fraser Minton, who's really done a great job as a young kid in the National League, figuring out how to play center ice. You can't. They went into Montreal and beat them up. The other night, Detroit. You see Kastelik knocking out Mo Seider, but no one can go near them. There's nothing Detroit can do. They're absolutely helpless. So there's something to be said for that. And I think the structure has helped, but also the physicality part of it has got the Bruins, a couple games over NHL 500 at this point.
How are you with their underlying numbers right now? Because I feel like from what I see, the analytics don't necessarily love the Bruins, if that's correct.
I'm not an underlying.
You're not an underlying numbers guy. Oh well, Vic told me
wins.
you were super. Oh, I guess Vic was saying you're super high on the team versus the analytics. I guess so. The analytics are saying that they're not.
No, I just don't. I never look at any.
I mix that up.
Underlying numbers.
I mix that up.
I look at who's played the most home games, who's played the most road games. You look at special teams. So the Bruins have top 10 in penalty kill and power play. So like that wins all the time.
Well, I guess let me
road
rephrase because Razor, like, they're 25th in expected goals for, and they're 23rd in expected goals against. And I like, that's just something that I do like those numbers. I mean, I don't always like look at them and say, well, here's the full storyline. I think eye test does matter.
Well,
but
they have
those
two
numbers,
guys, right? They have two guys in Morgan Geekie and David Pastrnak that can score from 60 feet away. Who else has that? So a shot from Morgan Geekie or a shot from you are two different things from 45 feet away. And nobody in analytics has been able to explain to me how that can be figured out. It's just, it doesn't, it's, you can take it. I get it. You can, like, I appreciate the numbers and they tell a bit of a story, but again, I watch Morgan Geekie every night beat a goalie in the NHL from 45 feet away with a wrister. And then, again, you go out there and shoot from the exact same spot. It's the exact same goal saved above expected. I guarantee you're not scoring that. So, there's stuff to those.
Couldn't even snipe an all goalie.
Exactly.
Look, and I would say, even as a coach now, I'm with you, Razor. I'll look at some of the numbers after maybe a game. We get a whole package of advanced, we'll call it, air quotes for those of you who are audio only, analytics after all of our NAHL games. And I'm usually just looking at like some team numbers, some possession. Like, did we possess the puck enough in the offensive zone? Because usually you play teams 2 nights in a row. And I'm more looking to see, like, not so much expected this or expected that, because I'm very anti-expected goals and this and that, because like I'm like, no, just tell me what the real goals were. But I do like looking some nights when I'm like, God, I felt like we were in the offensive zone all night, or I felt like we defended all night. And I'll go and I'll just look to see if what I write down on my little note card throughout the game matches, what the analytics, and it's all done via AI. So you don't know exactly how accurate it is. And then I would say the other thing I use for Razor is just ice time, as I'm learning how to manage a bench and make sure guys are, you're not overdoing it with certain players. But we get a crazy amount of expected this and expected that and a game score and these formulas. And I'm just like, not for me.
Yeah. Listen, I'm not a guy who's from the 50s who who just throws it all out the window. There's a lot of information in there, and I agree with you, Colby, in that you use it to back up your eye test, right? My eyes said this. What are the numbers saying the same thing? Do they back that up? I see. Those are valuable numbers in certain different ways. But again, you go back to the Corsi thing, right? This Corsi thing that was all the rage. And then guys figured out they could take shots from 150 feet away, when instead of dumping it into the corner, they dump it on net, and they had the best Corsi in the National League. Like the joke is like, I always hear the joke now, like that shot at the end of a period from 200 feet away. Oh, the guy's pumping his Corsi up. So there's listen, the guys and teams have, are looking at the numbers, and they're doing things a certain way to back their own numbers up at different times, but it doesn't always necessarily mean success.
Players love it though too. Like, I remember, I actually had like a pretty long conversation with Calvin DeHaan last year when the Rangers weren't playing him, and Calvin said, like, look at my numbers when I'm in the lineup. I mean, also, like, the Rangers weren't very good last year, and when Calvin played, like, they won games. So I get where he was coming from, but it felt like that was something the Rangers ignored last year, was looking at those analytics and whatnot, if they have a certain defenseman in versus Calvin DeHaan. So players definitely pay attention to it too,
Well, the guys that were playing in the lineup didn't.
Yeah, that's fair.
The guy not in the lineup does.
Good point.
Of course he does. He always tries.
Yeah.
He tries to find the numbers that back up the fact that he should be in the lineup. But the guy playing 25 minutes who says that he shouldn't be, he's not looking at
fair.
Yeah.
But also, Razor, just to ask you about Boston, like, more in depth while we talk about like numbers and whatnot. Like, who's a guy that like they need more from, that people expect more from? Like, if you could pick one.
I mean, the issue like all these other teams, is just the availability. You don't have Charlie McAvoy.
Yeah.
So, that's a big problem for a long period of time to keep up the back end consistent. Um, again, the problem is too, like you asked me that question, like they've missed all of their top 6 forwards for more than 5 games, whether it's Elias Lindholm, Victor Arvidsson, Casey Middlestat, now David Pastrnak. The only guy who stayed healthy is Morgan Geekie, and obviously you're getting more than enough out of him. So I think, so I think everything's gone pretty well for them with guys in the lineup. I think you're not really looking for a lot more with the guys that have played. You just want a little more health. The Bruins tonight, they're going to have to call somebody else up. We haven't got to that yet. I got to go over a pregame skate in half an hour, but they're going to use their 10th defenseman tonight. So they've had, it's been more just staying healthy has been the issue, not really any individual performance from anybody. They've got a lot out of their guys so far.
And can we get a little Mason Lohrei health check here? I know the last time we talked, things were not going well for him. Well documented stretch of healthy scratches, but then McAvoy goes down, and that just opens more opportunity. It probably lengthens your leash a little bit, but do you feel like his wake up call worked a little bit that he dealt with early on?
Yeah, the fact his name wasn't at the top of my forehead with that question, it tells that story, I think, because it would have been at different times earlier in the season. What they've done really well, and I haven't asked this question of anybody. I think this is just complete personal opinion from, again, looking and seeing ice time, is that they tried to let him loose at the start of the season and really gave him a lot of opportunity. They really wanted him to be with McAvoy. They really wanted him to be on that top pair. Since the healthy scratch, it's more like 14, 15 minutes, not 18, 19 minutes. So I think they're just putting him, they're backing off him a little bit in saying, this is what he is right now, and we're going to put him in the best situation that we possibly can. We've got Andrew Peeke playing fantastic. He played 26 minutes the other night. It's been
impressive
awesome.
what they've gotten out of him, isn't it? Like a guy that was kind of left for dead in Columbus. Like,
he was a really good college player.
On
his
he was
way,
a really good college player. At Notre Dame, he was very good. But
against him
in
a couple
Columbus,
times.
he was kind of left for dead. I mean, I think he is on his way out the door there, really, to the minors.
He was 7th, 8th defenseman. The Bruins picked him up for nothing. I don't even, maybe a 5th or 6th or 7th round pick. Like, it wasn't there. So they've got a ton out of him. Who, again, world championship guy last season too. He played on that team that won over in Sweden. So he's stepped up. But Zadorov's been a beast. What a great job by Nikita Zadorov. Last season came in a little hot, which I think a lot of people around the league expected just because of who he is and what he does. But he's really settled in. He's been the workhorse now that McAvoy's out, and that's solidified things, and that's also been able to give Lohrei more offensive zone faceoffs, a lot of less defensive zone faceoffs. So I think what they've done with Mason and what he's doing is just building his game up as a young player and trying to create more responsibility for himself.
I've just got one more for you, Razor. And again, we appreciate your time this morning. Have you been able to watch a lot of the prospects in college hockey, the Bruins guys, like, Hagens, Letourneau, and who's the guy at Pelosi and Quinnipiac, right? Like, he's having a pretty good year. I guess so. Well, I think Gasso was hurt for a bit, right?
I've seen a ton of Gasso because he's been there for 3 years.
Is he back now, though? He was hurt when I did their last game.
Yeah, he was still hurt this past weekend, but I'm just saying in general, I think he's got a pro body,
almost like Nestorenko. Those guys
too.
They fly under the radar a little bit at BC because you get some of those big names. But like Nestorenko looks like an NHLer too. I mean, big guy, does a lot of things right. I like Nestorenko.
Sneaky, right? There's so many of those guys at both of these places in Boston. Again, Colby, I talk to you about this guy all the time. You and your Terrier love and BU, but I loved him, and he flew completely under the radar. Is Ryan Green? Like, there was no question that guy was going to be a National Hockey League player.
Yeah,
no question. And he never it wasn't like he never got 100 points or 60 points in college, but there was no
question. He played behind Celebrini the one year. And as freshman year, they were a Frozen Four team. He played behind guys, and the best story for Greeny, and like, look, ultimately, is he the guy who's going to play with Bedard as this team starts turning the corner into a real team? Probably not, but he's certainly going to be like a very, very high level second or third line center in the National Hockey League with Ryan Green. But the best story for him, and I'm going to give Kyle Davidson all the credit here because I was actually entangled in this situation. He didn't want to sign after his sophomore year, and he was getting a lot of pressure from people within the organization to sign. And I remember walking with him to the Hobie Baker ceremony in Minneapolis, the year Celebrini won it. And he was like kind of confiding in me because he knew I was close with the people in Chicago. I had just got done working there, or maybe I was even still working there. I can't remember the exact timing of it. And I was like, Kyle, like, I just want you to know he feels like you guys are going to be pissed at him and turn on him if he goes back for his junior year. And Kyle like swooped right in and like spoke to him and said, look, I got your back. If you want to go back, be the captain, be a leader, win a championship, like we'll be ready for you when you're done. Like, didn't force him to come out a year early. Now the kid's never going to play hockey in the American League. You know, I mean, how often do we see a GM not rush a guy out and help that guy? I mean, so flowers.
You never hear that.
And Ryan Green for making that choice.
I was just gonna say, I always want to give the player credit too, because so many of these kids want to go, right? Like, can't wait to get out. And it's important to stay for some of these guys. So back to your prospects, the Bruins prospects. Obviously, Hagens. He's in it's a weird spot for him because unless he gets 75 points, it's like, what are you doing? But BC's been in between a little bit. They're coming out of the gates a little slow, like they always do. He's still a point per game guy. I think he is what he is. And it doesn't really matter for me what he does offensively. It's about learning off the puck and becoming a better pro. Seems as a 6th overall pick, I don't see a scenario where he doesn't come out, right? Like, how does he? I don't think those guys played junior years. Letourneau, I think the three of us can say, watching last season, that you knew he was going to be pretty good this year. Like, he just shouldn't have been there a lot. Like, everything just fell the wrong way for that kid.
He looked lost last year.
In Canada to the NCAA. Like, you need that middle step of the USHL. Like, you need.
And again, the rule, the major junior rule to pass in October when he'd already played, like he'd already decided he couldn't really leave to do that because he should have been in the OHL last season, very obviously. So good on him. He's a good prospect, really good prospect. And he's
with
good
his size.
100%. He's a man amongst boys physically. And he gets, he's a perfect example of your Ryan Green, right? Like, he's going back. He's got to go back next season, one more year. And then you could envision a scenario where he jumps right onto onto their third line. And
I took a lot of shit this summer from Bruins fans. Like, when I was defending Hagens, people are like, oh, you're being a homer. And I'm like, nah, get your facts right if you think I'm being a homer towards a BC guy. I mean, sorry, on Letourneau. But I've watched BC a couple times, and I think Hagens is actually playing a lot better in the last couple of weekends.
He looked great against UMass when I did those games.
Just holding on to the puck, protecting it, not settling for I think a lot of these highly skilled guys, they come in, they settle for a lot of easier plays around the perimeter. And once they realize, like, oh, wait, I got to get in the middle of the ice, which we saw Ryan Leonard do really well. We saw Cutter do really well at BC. And I think Hagens is doing that really well now. And then even with Letourneau, I mean, every time you watch a BC game, he plays the entire game between the hash marks. And when, you're that size and you're willing to do that, I heard he really recommitted his summer in his off-ice training this summer, Razor, and he really kind of put the foot to the gas, and I think it's made a huge difference for Letourneau this year. I really did.
Yeah, it has, and just confidence. It's all for coming off the season he did last season. He's getting lots of love now in Boston, and now everyone's watching and paying attention. So the pipeline's there.
Yeah. Well, let me ask you this before we let you go. We're going to make it a little personal. How's the youngest member of the Raycroft goaltending clan doing? Where are we at with him?
Good. So they were up in St. Andrews actually, which is funny because I was watching that. I'm like, ooh, that is a big jump for that kid to have gone from there to BC in Hockey East. So they had a good week, and then last night they lost to Dexter 4-1, but they got outshot 36-14. Mace stood pretty tall last night in his first game.
Playing at Cushing, for those of you who are wondering, which is one of the high-level prep schools in the New England area. So with those beautiful,
and what year is he?
Purple jerseys.
He's in 09.
They still got those purple jerseys at Cushing.
Oh yeah, the purple Penguins were flying around last night. So, yeah, they're a young team, so it was fun to watch them go against one of the better teams, the old team at Dexter. So it was fun last night. So hockey season started for those guys.
Only a couple of years away before we're talking about another Raycroft that's going to be in the media crosshairs. So Razor, we love you. We appreciate you. I'll be up
anytime, guys.
I'll be up doing BC Providence in a couple of weeks, so I'll check in with you before that, and maybe we'll be able to cross paths over in that part of the
yeah, you too, Johnny.
Boston,
anytime.
Chestnut Hill,
Thanks, Razor. Yeah, I'll be. Right. I think I'm just UMass games from here on out, so no Boston for me. But appreciate you.
Keep him in the burbs. See you, pal.
That's exactly.
Colby, I think we do have some breaking news here.
Yeah,
Ryan McDonagh
in the chat. Yep, I've seen that. Yep.
Ryan McDonagh, 3 years, $4.1 million extension with the Tampa Bay Lightning. That'll get him to 39 years old. I would think that we're both on the same side here, saying home run for Tampa Bay, home run for Ryan McDonagh to get $4 million for probably what's his last contract. Tampa Bay again, like. Their window is still open. They need a guy like McDonagh to go get one more cup while they have Kucherov and Hedman and Vasilevsky and now McDonagh, in probably what is their back nine. Well, I guess Kucherov's not really in his back nine yet, but Hedman's how old is Hedman? He's got to be like 35 too now, no?
I think he's a 90 or 91 birth year, so that would probably put him at least 34 to 35 years old. I don't know if
30.
What year is he born, Johnny? Tell me what year he's born. I'll tell you how old he is.
I see the age. I don't see the year.
Okay, so read it out loud.
He's 34. Yeah, he's 34. 34.
Okay, he's 34. So he's born in probably 1991. So, look, I know I'm going to upset some people here. I am a huge Ryan McDonagh fan as a hockey player, as a human being. We're both 89 birth year. We both played together at times at the U.S. national team. Even though Mac didn't play full time with the NTDP, he'd pop over for tournaments and obviously he was one of the best guys at our age group. So, nothing but respect for what he is. He's a warrior. 5 years ago, I'm building a team and he is one of my top guys on my back end because I truly believe, and yes, Chris Bork did go to Cushing and his brother Ryan did coach at Cushing. Puck Battle in the chat is asking those questions. But I wonder about this one, Johnny. I know $4.1 million is like absolutely nothing because that's probably like that's the new $2.8 million. I just wonder like how healthy is Mac? He's out right now. And again, how healthy is he? I guess if you can get 60, 70 games from him, $4 million is a damn good deal because this guy is going to give you whatever's left in the tank. Because like I said, he is the ultimate warrior, flies under the radar, in my opinion, for being one of the best defenders in the NHL since I've studied this league. I just can't remember a lot of players who are willing to defend on the level with the effort, the efficiency, the physicality, did I say efficiency? I think I said efficiency, but I just wonder how much he has left in the tank. Having said that, if Julien Brisebois is giving him this contract, I trust his instinct more than I trust my own instinct. I think Julien Brisebois knows what he's doing a hell of a lot more than my opinion matters. So, I do think that there must be a comfort level for Tampa to give him the contract.
Don't you think there are 31 other teams, though, that would want Ryan McDonagh at this contract? Like, that's kind of how I judge it, right? Like, who wouldn't want Ryan McDonagh for 3 years at $4.1 million right now. I
Well,
don't
he
think
hasn't
anyone
played. Listen, he hasn't played since November 8th, I believe, something around that.
Yeah, but you
early
need a guy like that for
November.
the playoffs. You need
For
him for the
sure,
playoffs.
I agree. Things didn't go great in Nashville. Remember that was kind of a quick stopover. He wanted to come back to Tampa, and for good reason. So, I again, if he still has some juice left in the tank, like again, and I'm happy for the player to get more money and to get another 3 years, like we said, probably his last contract. And if he's healthy, he's still a top 4 defenseman the way he defends. I'm just asking the question. I'm not trying to be negative. I'm just asking the question. It's a guy that I truly do love. I love the guy as a hockey player. I admire the way that he has played in his career, and who he is as a leader, as a person, all of those things. But I got to be able to at least ask the question.
Well, we do have the perfect guy to ask about Ryan McDonagh right now. Derek Stepan is here, but before we bring him on, just want to give a quick word from our sponsor, JP Wiser's. Just in time for the holidays, the perfect gift for the hockey and whiskey lover in your life has officially arrived. JP Wiser's, the official whiskey of the NHL, is rolling out the brand new 10-year-old NHL gift pack built for fans who want to celebrate the game in style. Inside, you'll find a bottle of JP Wiser's 10-year-old Canadian whiskey, an NHL team cocktail book, team-branded glassware, and a hockey-inspired stir stick to complete the set. And the best part, each pack includes one of 32 collectible NHL team cocktail glasses, so you can grab your favorite team or start collecting all 32 this season. This holiday, give the gift of great whiskey and even better hockey memories with JP Wiser's. With that, let's bring on another one of my best friends, Derek Stepan. Step,
what's going on?
How you doing
fellas?
this morning?
Stepper, this guy has 47 best friends. And I'm just curious, when he calls you his best friend, I feel like it's insulting because he calls everybody his best friend.
Well, he's high maintenance. He texts me, he's like, "Hey, can you come on the pod?" I'm like, "I got a lot going on," and he's like, "You have to," and he started crying. He just wouldn't.
God,
it
I'm
was
sorry. Listen, I'm sorry he did that to you. I feel a little bit responsible for him when he does goofy things.
It's great to be on. I'm excited that it worked out.
Yeah. Well,
what's this hat you got on?
This is the kids' school at the Providence Academy here in Minnesota. All 3 of my kids go. It's a great hat.
All right.
Looks
perfect.
Good.
It's perfect timing to have you on because we're talking about Mac's new deal. And I went through a list of reasons of how much I admire this guy because his career, what he's done in this league and how he's done it, like he should get a red carpet right into heaven for everything this guy has done. And I want to I don't want to be negative, but the question that I asked and Johnny and I were kicking around was like, how much could he possibly have left in the tank? Because nobody gives more effort in every shift of his entire career than him. And I know the money for what the cap is low. And I even said, Julian Breezewad knows better than me. There's no doubt about that. But does he still have any miles left on the tires right now? I mean, I know he's a warrior.
I think it's safe to say that the 3 of us sitting here doing a podcast have no right to ask if Ryan McDonagh has.
I agree.
This guy, I played with him at Wisconsin. He was the best man at my wedding. What I know about Ryan McDonagh is that if he signed a contract, he has more in his tank. He would not sign. He knew that he could give everything to Tampa. I said it years ago that I think the only way Ryan McDonagh will stop playing hockey is if someone literally tells him, "Hey, Ryan, you can't play anymore." So I believe that he has what it takes to be efficient and effective for Tampa in that contract. And he's a true pro. He's physically, he'll always be in the best shape. And he's going to provide everything that Tampa needs from him. And like I said, he wouldn't have signed it if he didn't think that he had what it took to finish it.
Well, listen, that's great insight from a guy who obviously knows him better than any of us. Is it safe to say he's one of the best defenders of our generation? I mean, I was talking about how he's a guy you could build your whole back end around a guy like him. And I just don't remember a lot of guys who have been able to defend like him since I like started knowing this league. And even when I'm going back to when we were young kids watching this league, like I don't remember a ton of guys that were as good at him in those ways.
Yeah, I mean, when you talk about a defensive defenseman, I think Ryan McDonagh is the peak of the mountain. I think he is paving ways for kids underneath him to hey, listen, you can make it and you can be very elite in defending. And I think Ryan, through his career, has found ways to provide other value too, not just the defensive defenseman. You know, you talk about leadership style. You talk about what it takes to score a big goal in a playoff series that ends up being.
We've seen that.
Still can't believe you passed up that shot, though. I can't believe you didn't shoot that fucking puck in Game 5 against Washington.
Yeah, well, the funny thing is what people don't talk about is we had like meetings after meetings, because remember we were down 3-1 and they were just blocking everything. They were blocking everything, and we were kind of trying to just pound the rock a little bit, and we had meetings about, hey, you never want to pass up an opportunity to shoot it. If you have a lane, take it and shoot it. But let's be aware that they are doing a great job of blocking shots. So let's be a little more patient. So that was they said that Game 5. And so for 6 and 7, we were talking about it constantly. Like, hey, let's maybe look to pass one more time because they're going to try to play goalie all of them. So, and Ryan was screaming for it too. So, it wasn't as heads up as people think. I think it was a little bit more scripted.
And what a play by Jesper Fast.
Yeah, unreal.
I don't think defensive defensemen, like I never categorized him as that. That's why I always loved using the word defender for him, because he was the best defender on the ice every night, but like sneaky, maybe not even sneaky, but the poise on the power play, because he has played a ton of power play in his career. He's got last guy back ice in his veins. I mean, he would pull things out off the rush where he'd have a little delay play and kind of like wait a guy out. And you'd be like, that's not a defensive defenseman play at all. That's why I use the word defender with him, because best defender on the ice at all times. But that's where I'm thinking he's probably one of the most complete 200-foot defensemen I've ever really seen play in the game of hockey. I really do.
For sure. And I would say within my era, I would, put him in the top category with, we could go down and dissect all the ones that when he came in the league who were the best, but he's definitely in the top tier, and, probably before him, there was a guy that, maybe I can't think off the top of my head that was before Ryan that was the best defensive defenseman.
Sure.
And, I think you look at like a Jacob Slavin, who I also got to play with in Carolina. Unreal. Maybe he's the next layer of defensive defenseman. And obviously I'm a little biased. I think we got some pretty good ones here in Minnesota as well. So
Faber's not terrible,
I just think that the game is changing always. And I don't think it's safe to say that you can just defend. I think you need to provide layers to your defense. Like, you can be a great defender, but you also have to be able to skate and be able to score and be able to. At this point, the game has gotten so good that you got to be able to do it all. And I think one of the things Ryan has done his whole career, and the reason why he's a Stanley Cup champion. You guys call it a stairway to heaven. I think it's a stairway to a Hall of Fame.
For sure.
He's been able to adapt to every layer. He's whatever the team is required from Ryan McDonagh does that and more.
I also wanted to ask you, I mean, you guys played in the Olympics together also in Sochi. The last time we saw NHL players go, now it's a big topic of conversation, right, Derek? Like, it's kind of becoming, I feel like it's becoming a distraction, honestly, with, the rink being too short and the building not being done. And it seems like we're kind of looking for ways for NHL players to pull out, especially with all the injuries right now going on in the league. What do you remember about like 2014? Like, you're on a team right now that's, competing for the Stanley Cup. Yeah. You guys want to go for it. And then you got the Olympics and you have 3 or 4 guys from your own team that are going, and the risk that I'm sure the general manager is feeling with having 4 guys going to play in the Olympics. Do you remember it being this much of a distraction as a player, or has social media just evolved so much and now it's the return of NHL players, so it's more talked about?
Listen, the guys that have an opportunity to play, they are super excited about it. They're not thinking about, oh, I could get hurt, or the rink, or this, that, or the other thing. The guys that are ramping up to play for the Olympics, they're very excited. We're able to, it's a great thing about hockey, you're able to be able to do both. Like I remember being very focused in the Rangers season, and then the team got named, and then we took our break, we went and played, and when we came back, we hit the ground running again. So I think there is a little bit of social media taking it and being like, oh, the players this, the players that, or players are getting hurt. Just so we're clear, every year players get hurt. I think it's just under a microscope a little bit. And I do think with the condensed schedule, I think teams are a little more cautious with these, making sure that guys are 100%. But when I was going through it, so I can only speak when it was a great opportunity, and I didn't look at it as a nuisance or anything that I was worried about.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought up the McDonagh thing for the Hall of Fame too, because I hope, we fall in love with stats, but with the Hall of Fame, but I mean, he was as good as you could be at that position. So it'll be my last Ryan McDonagh comment of the day.
I was going to say, what the hell? I thought we moved on.
Well, we did, but I mean, he said that, and I'm sitting here thinking, and I start to see some people kind of chattering about it in the chat a little bit, and I'm like, I hope what he's done in this game is recognized on that level, for sure. So, what about?
I think if you win the big silver thing at the end of the year, your name should be in the mix always.
Yeah,
I think,
especially
if you're
multiple.
a big part of the team, especially multiple. If you're a big part of the club, I think it needs to be about. I'm obviously biased. Ryan's a good friend of mine. I would love all my friends to have a stairway to it, but that's whether it happens or not. Ryan's going to go down as one of the greats.
Yeah. What about your own team right now? Obviously, you work for the Minnesota Wild, a team that Johnny just loves to throw shade at and take shots at on the World Wide Web just about as often as he can. And we've just talked about how impressed we've been, with Wallstat. We've talked about how great it is to see Kirill Kaprizov take that huge contract and then, show everyone why he's an elite player that deserves that type of money. You're working for the club, you're on the inside there. What is the feeling in Minnesota right now with this hockey team, and what is the ceiling, do you think, for the group there in Minneapolis?
Well, first, I'm not on the inside. I'm around it. I watch it. I love everything that you just said. It is awesome to see. I love it when you see a guy like Wallstead, who he obviously had a super amount of talent. He put the work in, and he's done a lot of really good things to get himself ready for an NHL season, and good things are happening for him, and I'm very happy for him. I love seeing that stuff. Obviously, Kirill, I could have, I played against him, but I never got to see it as close as I've watched it lately, and special player for sure. I mean, it's fun to watch. It's kind of like at times comical. Like I'll be watching it and I'm like, this guy's like a cheat code. So to see all the things fall into place the way they should, and guys put in the work and good things happen. I think I would be lying to you if I said that the ceiling should always be to win your last game. I think any group that's good and has a veteran group, that is the ultimate goal. But they just keep getting better and better, and that's the most important thing as the season wears on.
With Wallstat specifically, Step, and first of all, the nickname, the Great Wall of St. Paul. I mean, that's unreal of a nickname. But I heard Kevin Weeks the other night actually say that Wallstat's entrance into the NHL reminds him a lot of when he backed up Henrik Lundqvist, when Lundqvist made his introduction to the NHL. And I know you came in a little bit after that, but it's unfair to ask you if you see comparisons, from Wallstat to Lundqvist. I understand that that's an unfair question, but the buzz around him, can you see those similarities where this guy might end up taking over the net from Gustafsson, who has been a pretty damn good goalie himself?
Yeah. I mean, first of all, they're both Swedes, so there's your comparison.
Yeah.
I think the big thing with Wally and with Gus, even both of them, I think they have a good balance between the two of them. They have their little internal competition. You always talk about that with two goaltenders that are kind of sharing the net. Can they push each other and also be buddies and not, and so I think they have a great relationship, and I think that's why they're both actually off to a pretty solid start. And when you have two great goalies within a condensed schedule, it makes life a lot easier, especially, we talk about, you're having these crazy trips and because of the Olympic year. And if you have two goalies that you're confident with, I think that's a big part of, the turnaround for the Wild too, is maybe they didn't start the way they wanted to, but their goaltending's kind of, made everyone breathe a little bit easier.
Mm-hmm. Colby, you got any more Wild questions? I got a Ranger one.
Sorry, I completely ignored your question. To compare the two, I think it's. Listen, I don't get to shoot on Wally as I got to shoot on him a little bit last year. It's tough to really compare a guy that's just getting started and what Henrik was, because I didn't get to see Henrik when he just got started. Talent-wise, I mean, I think it's pretty apparent that Wally's got a ton of talent. I mean, and it seems like a silly thing to say when you talk about goaltenders, but you can tell it's through the roof, and I think he's found a mental peace in letting his talent take over and staying comfortable in his net. So I don't know anything about goaltenders, but that's what I see, and I don't know if that makes any sense at all.
No. Listen, I think none of us really understand goalies. Only goalies understand goalies, and that's why we kind of let them do their thing. But I did want to ask about another one of your buddies, and Colby, I'm sorry to turn this into a Ranger question, but I got to ask while we have Derek on here.
Honey, it doesn't bother me when you talk about the Rangers.
You hate them. What do you mean? You hate the Rangers?
You always worry. I don't know how many times I could tell you over the years that I always enjoyed watching the Rangers. The Rangers have been, you had my former coach coaching them for a while. Then they were very good before that. You had Sam Rosen as a play caller. I mean, one of the best TV duos there forever. You're the one
who takes me so literally, Derek.
A bunch about the New York Rangers. I think we got to talk about the Rangers more on this show. So you don't have to apologize to me, Johnny. I certainly don't apologize to you. So you're fair game here, pal.
Okay, well, let me ask my really good question. Okay, so we're about 10 days away from Chris Kreider making his return to MSG. He's been on fire in Anaheim, and your trade, Derek, was pretty similar, right? Like the Rangers felt their window was kind of shutting. They wanted to make some room for cap space, bring in some younger guys. Like a pretty similar exit, I would say, to Kreider. What do you remember about like the days leading up to your return to MSG? Like I imagine, he's starting to count down the days, right, till December 15th. So I feel like it's just a really similar storyline.
Yeah, it's a very difficult day. Like it's and not difficult. That's a bad way. It's a lot that day. I think when you're headed back into the building, even just like walking into the other side, it's just a lot, and there's a lot of people around that you're. It's just a heavy day, and I think everyone around you tries to give you advice, like, hey, just after your first shift, you'll get into it, and then the video comes on, and that's that you're sitting there watching it, and it's a heavy day. And Chris, there's no good advice in it, and there's no easy way to do it, and he'll do it like the rest of the guys have done it, and you just kind of get through it, and the next time it gets easier.
Mm-hmm. What is watching one of those videos like? Like I got to imagine that's obviously we all see him. We're all in the building for him, but like being the guy watching your own tribute video, I got to imagine that's like a crazy, wild feeling.
It's goofy. It's a goofy one. It's just heavy. You're supposed to be, you go into the building and whatever the emotions were when you got traded, whether you were angry or sad or excited to be going out of there, whatever your scenario was, when you come into that building, anyone you come back and all you want to do is win. Like you go into that, you were like, I don't care what it takes. we need the 2 points and I want to get out of this building. But then you get on the ice and then they show you the tribute and you're like, oh man, that was a great time when I was here. It's like downshifts you so hard. So it's like this mixed emotions. It's just heavy, but yeah, everyone goes through it. And then once you come back the second time, it's like first time didn't even happen. So yeah, it's just one goofy night.
How much did you put on the board for your first return?
God, I don't
you remember.
It wasn't light.
How many zeros? A lot of zeros.
Well, I mean, I'm not like a crazy person. I wasn't like. I'll tell you this much: it wasn't 2.
I saw. Well, not saw. Like, 4. Yeah, I was. We were.
It wasn't 4
in Columbus.
So okay, couple thousand.
We're playing a game in Columbus. Adam Foote put like 15,000 on the board for a game in Columbus, and I was like,
the craziest one. And I don't want to put him on blast, but the craziest one I saw. He's such a good human. OEL. This was the first year. Ekman Larson, the first year when they did the 3-on-3, and they did the divisions, and each player got paid if you won. And OEL's Division 1, and I think he won like. I don't remember exactly what it was, 30, 35. And he came back, our first game back, he put it on the board.
Oh,
no way.
Wow.
Yeah. Awesome.
That's
awesome
legendary.
Is that the biggest number you ever saw on the board?
Yeah. And it wasn't even close. That was the biggest one I ever saw.
Do you remember what you put for your first game?
Yeah, I think I put 500. I think for the most part, your first game, like again, when those young guys, like you don't have money, so you just tell them put 500 up, and that's kind of it.
Shaddy and I were there for the first one together. We each went up, put our 500 up. Chris Stewart was like, no, that doesn't work. We know it. We saw those contracts. No chance, boys. Right back up to the board. And let's up that number a little bit. So that was.
No, I think I just did 500. It was 500. I always, no matter whatever it was, if it was just a random night, whatever, I'd always put 500 for the game winner and give myself a chance to win my money back.
I love that. All right, listen, Stepper.
Well, I got one more question. I got one more question if I can.
You always do. Go for it.
We had James Duthie on yesterday, and we were talking about like how guys prank each other, and I feel like I've never asked this question or heard this question be asked, but like, is there pranking that goes on at the Olympics? Like when you were in Sochi and you got buddies on Canada or on Sweden, like is there any of that stuff, or do guys kind of keep to themselves? 'Cause I know like when you have a visiting team come to MSG or wherever you're playing, like you fuck with the away team a little bit. You know, I've seen that happen, but the Olympics, there's none of that goes on.
I don't think so. I think it was hard too, because like you're constantly moving locker rooms, and you're constantly like you don't really get like a home base, if I remember correctly. I feel like you're shifting rooms all the time because they're. But I don't remember. You know, it's bad, but I don't really remember. I know that there wasn't like pranking going on. Mm-hmm. You might have saw your buddies like in the passing and you chat with them, but I don't think there was like. I don't think there was pranking. I mean, you would have to ask somebody else. Maybe I just wasn't really around it.
So what's like the story you tell from Sochi? What's like, you know, something that you can give us from that experience, maybe that happened away from the rink that you love bringing up, like maybe at a bar or a reunion or something like that. Yeah. I got to hear a Sochi story.
So I was kind of the extra forward. Like I was, okay. So you get to dress 13 forwards. I was the 14th forward. Yeah, my big story would be, you know, we brought home a dog. That would be kind of. My wife's laughing at me right now. Would be the kind of
you still have
you
the
bought,
dog?
You bought a dog in Russia?
Oh yeah, a lot of guys did. Shaddy brought one home too. Yeah, Junior.
Yeah, me and Shaddy took one of the Sochi dogs. So it's
I didn't know that.
There was a bunch of stray dogs when we got there. They were just
that's a known thing.
On the street.
Oh yeah, you don't remember that, Johnny?
No, not at all.
Johnny was like 10 when that happened, Stepper. That's why.
Yeah. So we got Jake is our dog, and Junior is Shattenkirk's dog, and so Jake that was kind of our Sochi story. I kept my wife away from the dogs the whole trip. Like I was trying my best, and then the last day, she's over here, so that's why I kind of looked. The last day,
you can bring her on.
Do you want to come on? She says no. Okay.
Okay.
Johnny has a lot to learn, Stepper. He doesn't understand women yet.
The Backuses have a shelter in St. Louis. So Kelly and David Backus did a lot of the legwork for the dogs. And the last day we were flying home to go back to New York, and they had all their bags and they had the 2 dogs, and we were right behind them. And my wife's a huge dog person, and she was like, do you guys need help? And they're like, yeah, will you take Jake? And my wife, Stephanie, held Jake like a baby for like 2 hours. He was just like a puppy. Now he's a big old man, but he was just a puppy, and she held him. And we went on the plane, and next thing you know, we wake up in New York, and Jake had to go quarantine down in St. Louis for a month.
Yeah,
and Steph went and
I
picked
remember
him up.
that
Now
whole
we
thing.
What's with the name Jake for a dog? I feel like I've never heard that before.
Well, so they had to do like, okay, I don't know the exact stuff, so my wife might correct me, but they had to do like paperwork for the dogs, and I think like he had to have some sort of like, I want to call it like a passport or like an ID.
Pet passport. Yeah, pet
No way.
passport. Yeah.
That's hilarious.
And so he got named Sochi Jake. And so by the time we got to him a month later, it was kind of just like, well, let's not change his, like, we were like, Jake's, like, there's a story to it, and let's just keep it. So, yeah, so he's technically Sochi Jake.
Sochi
right?
Jake.
We just call him.
You know what happened to Junior, right? You know where he is now, right?
No.
The Shattenkirk parents have Junior.
Oh, wait, I thought that was the plan all along.
I think that was a little bit of a Hamptons audible, we'll call it. All right, but I will say that dog he brought home from Sochi, he's like so impressive. The way you could throw a ball in the dark in the middle of the woods, and he would start circling the property and like zero in on it. He probably could have been like an army dog or like a police dog, Junior. And I still see him from time to time. He's still kicking away. So you guys are heroes for saving those dogs and bringing them home from Sochi. That's good stuff. We're big dog people on the show.
I'll try to get you.
I'm learning in the chat right now that Jake is a popular dog name.
There he is. Yeah, there he is. He's just hanging over there. All right, that's his spot in the house. You got to love that.
Is that a dog bed?
No, it's a reading nook that the dog is completely taking territory over.
I'll have to explain to Johnny what nook means as well. He's probably not too familiar with that.
No, dude, the burger place in Minnesota, the Nook, unreal burger. I went there when I went to the Sioux Falls Stampede tryout camp at Ritter Arena. My dad found the Nook. It's like they put the cheese inside the meat. It's like the craziest burger ever.
Your podcast is just going to be named Ryan McDonagh, but next time you come into St. Paul, go to Shamrocks and get the Ryan McDonagh burger.
He's got his own burger? Jeez, all right. This guy really does. He does have everything.
All right, Stepper, we're gonna let you go here. We love you.
Right,
Johnny's gonna keep asking you. Next, he's gonna ask you what color your underwear are. So I'll let you go before he does that. All right, pal.
All right, fellas. Thanks for having me.
Thanks, Derek.
All right,
appreciate it. Talk to you soon.
One more question, Johnny? 20 minutes ago, you're one of a kind.
I don't know. I love that guy. I could talk to him all day. But again, like he played in the Olympics. Like how can we not ask an Olympic question?
You FaceTime him and talk to him as soon as the show's over. I'm sure he'll pick.
I might. I actually think he would. Honestly, he's one of the few that I think would. But while we're at it, Kobe, I do want to give a shout out to one of our sponsors, Uber Eats. Uber Eats is enabling fans to maximize their fandom all season long with exclusive game day deals on the app, from game day eats to paper plates and napkins. If you're hosting to all the ingredients, you need to make your favorite game day dip before, during, and after the game. Uber Eats is assisting every fan's hockey experience all season long. We talked about Jesper Wallstedt. He is 8-0-2. Today's Uber Eats stat of the day, where we create the stats. He's got a .944 save percentage, a 1.74 goals against average, 4 shutouts, and a plus 10.1 goals saved above expected. The Great Wall of St. Paul. Best nickname in the NHL right now. This guy's on fire, and so are the Minnesota Wild. I think the Wild are, I want to say 8-1-1 in their last 10. I got to look that up again, but pretty sure they're hovering around that. As I pull it up right here, they are 8-0-2 in their last 10. Look at that. But yeah, Derek will be a recurring guest probably throughout the year, especially like once the Olympics are coming out. I'm sure he'll hop on here to talk about what he thinks about Team USA and whatnot, guys who should make it, or just how the team looks in the tournament. So we'll hear more from Derek Stepan for sure. Any other thoughts for today's show?
Nope. Certainly a lot of information today, and again, good for Ryan McDonagh on his contract, and we'll see what the Boston Bruins can do if they can continue to, kind of stay in the mix. I think when I looked last night before I went to bed, they're a point out from a playoff spot. So, in the East right now, you're a couple of wins away from leading your division. You're a couple of losses away from, sitting in the basement near the Florida Panthers. So it is truly an interesting time right now when you look at the difference between 10 Florida Panthers and, the wild card New Jersey Devils at 33 points and 25 points alike. For those of you who are audio only, our esteemed producer Vic was quick on the conference standings and a new conference standing board that Vic has created for the show. So good luck with that. And I'll shout out Little Willie Styles in the chat for a funny comment saying that Derek should adopt Johnny as a stray dog. Little Willie always has a lot of commentary in the chat. A lot of times it's a little perverted.
When did he go to Little Willie? He was always Big Willie.
But that was pretty funny to see. And I see a comment from Velcro61 in the chat. Fire Lindy, fire Kevin Adams. I don't know if you saw the goal that they challenged last night for goaltender interference in the Philly game.
I didn't see it.
The video coach, that was a big swing and a miss. I don't know if the chat saw that. I do not know why you are challenging that. You give up a goal. That was not, to me, even remotely close to being a good challenge. And then the Flyers get on the power play, and the game just started kind of rolling back downhill after that. And I don't think the Flyers actually played great last night, but they made plays, right? Travis Konechny makes a play on a power play goal. Top of the circle's in. Mitch Koff made a ton of good plays last night. Again, when he gets the puck in those areas, he made this little backhand play. I think Couturier gave it to him, and then he made this quick backhand play out to tip it without looking. Again, offensively gifted player, around the net, around those areas. It's certainly, gives you excitement. If you're a Flyers fan, it's just always the conversation that we've been having all week is about, what you're doing in the other areas of the ice and really what you're doing without the puck. But that those challenges, just so everybody knows, they generally come with they come from your video coach, and there's Vic all over it. And Travis Konechny just lets this one go, and they were looking for Tippett on goalie interference in front of the net, but I mean, the replays, show that this just wasn't a good challenge. It really wasn't. So I could see where Buffalo Sabres are a little bit frustrated, as we always talk about. We were going to have Tage Thompson on the show today if they won. That was the deal that he cut.
Mm-hmm.
And we kind of could see early in that game that probably
I didn't even text him after the game. Yeah, I didn't even text him.
Yeah, no, you don't. You don't want to bother him. But as Velcro61 says, that was blatant. And I got to say, even Brian Boucher, who's the Flyers color guy, but also the TNT color guy, he didn't want to be a homer about the call, but even he was kind of shocked that they had called that one for goalie interference. And then the other one that was called back was the offsides one, where Buffalo looked like they scored to kind of bring themselves back into the game. And then they didn't. And it was a good video challenge by the Flyers, actually, because Benson lost sight of the puck, lost possession of the puck just long enough for it to be. So, and TNT did a great job yesterday. I don't know if you saw the interview that Liam did with Rick Tocchet before the game. It was just like a one-on-one interview that they pre-taped early, and he was talking about some of the arguments that him and Biz would have, and he was saying that even at 61 years old, he could still kick the shit out of Biz, which I thought was pretty funny because, Biz will come back at him about that. So those guys just continue to do a good job. But anyways, I think that's really, I know we still have to do Bet365, Johnny, but I think that's pretty much all we got for today, right? Is there anything else you wanted to jump in and talk about?
No, nothing really on top of my mind. Lots of good games tonight. Big slate. Big games over the weekend. I feel like there's a lot of back-to-backs this weekend. The Rangers have a big weekend too. They got Colorado Saturday, they got Vegas Sunday. So we're seeing the Western Conference come into the Garden this weekend. That'll be a lot of fun. But I think we should just get into Bet365. Yeah, I'll be at those games.
So I'm
also
go ahead.
What? I'm going to Fargo. I'm going to Fargo next week, Thursday, Friday, to do the Fargo Force game. So I'll see Mason West in action for the first time this year. Yeah, I'm excited to go to Fargo. I've never been to North Dakota, so that'll be a first trip for me.
I talked to Brett Skinner the other day. They are taking one of our two goalies for the entire month of January. They're calling up. It's not World Junior. It's that World Junior Challenge that the USHL goes to for the month of mostly January after Christmas. So they called up our goaltender Tyler Rounds for that time period. So that's awesome to see one of our guys get called up to the USHL. Our other goaltender, who's got 3 straight shutouts, just got Player of the Month, Andrei Nikolaev. He's a big Russian kid. He's a 16-year-old goaltender who plays for us, and he's committed to BU, which he just did a couple of weeks ago. But he just got goaltender of the month for us, and I know a lot of USHL teams have actually been clamoring to get him up and get him a part of their teams as well. So it'll be interesting to see what decision he makes. He obviously won't stay with us next year. He'll either go to the USHL or the CHL, which I fully support. If one of those teams wanted him right now, even though we'd be losing our number one goalie, I would fully support that as well. I mean, I'm always all about our guys getting called up, even if it hurts our team. You got to let these guys go on to the next level and take those opportunities. So I'm excited, especially for our two goaltenders who have just been doing a great job for us and continue to give us good results with our New Jersey Titans team. Amongst other things. I mean, we have a bunch of players that are playing really well for us.
Answer Jim the Swede in the chat. He said, Colby, do you have any plans to get into coaching at the pro level in the future?
I have zero plans, and I have zero want to get into the coaching at the pro level. And the reason for that being, Jim, is because I want this to be where my family is, and this is where I want my kids to grow up. And so, we moved out of this area to go take the opportunity in Chicago. And it was probably a decision that I made solely based on financial reasons. And I'll tell you, it was an interesting experience. I knew I was going into a dumpster fire, but I figured the paycheck would make it all good, and it didn't. So, not being able to really do what I want to do and say what I want to say was brutal. So, moving around and going and maybe coaching in the East Coast League or because that's probably where I would have to start. It's not something I'm interested in doing. I love working with the junior hockey players.
What if Villanova went D1?
Oh, listen, I think college would be a little bit of a different question mark. But it really would be so selective for me. I think if an opportunity at Penn State or an opportunity obviously at BU, but it wouldn't. I mean, BU is just it's so looked after for the future. There's so many great coaches that have way bigger coaching resumes than me. I mean, first off, when Jay Pandolfo leaves, you'd think it's Joe Pereira's team. I think he's earned that opportunity. But then you've got Matt Gilroy coaching at Harvard. John McCarthy is a head coach in the American Hockey League, not to mention all the NHL people. So, I don't think that would be for me. I love the fact that I get to coach junior hockey, Jim, and I still get to do all the other things that I like doing in life. I still get to do my show every day. I think our show, I should say, if I took a college job, Johnny, I don't think I'd be able to do this every morning. I think, and if we did get to do it every morning, I don't think I'd be able to
even watch NHL like you do or be as
open. Listen, I say to you guys exactly what's on my mind, whether you love it or hate it, right? And I just don't think I'd be able to do that in that situation. I know you do. I know you do. That's probably why you wore that shirt today that you have on. So the other thing that I wanted to answer for everybody in the chat, because I see D. Ely's asking me again about the betting thing. So the money on the board thing, the way money on the board works I don't know if it's all pro sports or it's just hockey. I would say, you put money on the board, and oh God, who knows what's coming my way in the chat right now. But you put money on the board for different reasons in pro hockey. Like, it's your first NHL game, $1,000 on the board. You're back in your hometown playing, money on the board. Your girlfriend's in town visiting, money on the board. Whatever. You did something
girlfriend
stupid.
Stuff? You put money on the board?
Absolutely. Your
Really?
parents are in town visiting, money on the board. There's all different reasons the guys on the team are going to give you shit to put money on the board. And so, you put the money on the board. You could also say $500 to the game-winning goal, like Stepan said, $500 to the biggest hit of the game, whatever. Like, you can do that stuff too, but generally speaking, let's say there's 4 or 5 guys that put money on the board. If your team wins, everybody pays that money to the team fund. And then let's say the team is in Vegas. There you go. You've got a $25,000 pot of money from 3 months of money on the board. There's your big night out in Vegas. Or you have rookie dinner and there's only 3 or 4 rookies on the team that are paying $5,000 or $8,000 each, but the bill's $50,000. You use the money on the board to take care of the rest of the dinner bill. So that's how money on the board works in the NHL, the AHL, the East Coast League even. I've seen it. I have no idea if other sports are doing money on the board, but what is the most you've ever heard about on the board? Didn't we see something that Spit and Chicklets talked about or posted a couple of years ago that there was like 100,000 on the board for something or other?
I don't know.
So it was someone's,
but they always talk about it. They talk about
everything.
It a lot.
Everybody was putting money on the board for someone's 1,000th game. I don't
Maybe
remember
it was Keith.
the exact.
Maybe it was Yandel.
It might have been a Yandel story for I can't remember, but I mean, look, I told you guys, I saw Adam Foote put a huge number on the board when we played against Columbus because he was back in Columbus for the first time or whatever. I had to put 1,000 on the board my first game. And in the American League, guys are putting money on the board too. Like, it's a lot of fun. It really is. It's like a fun team camaraderie thing. The guys are hooting and hollering when the money's going up on the board. So to give you the backstory for that, for those of you that were asking for more clarification on that, I know some of you are probably well aware of this and already know this about that, but that's what it is. So with that, everybody hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. We've got our long weekend ahead. Make sure you go to the audio downloads. Still got to do bet, but you go to the audio downloads, give us a review on the audio podcast platforms, get your automatic download set, and I'll kick it over to Johnny for our bet of the day. Let's see if you can give everybody a winner from Bet365 to finish off the week.
So tonight's bet of the night presented by Bet365. Whatever your bet is, it's never ordinary at Bet365. Download the app and get in on the game. Remember, you must be 19 or older. We had Derek Stepan on, and we are going to take the Minnesota Wild. They're hot right now. They're playing in Calgary. We're taking the Wild on the money line at -125. I think this one just kind of speaks for itself. Calgary has not been too good of a hockey team this year. Minnesota, we trust their goaltending. We trust Kirill Kaprizov. And simple as that. We're just going with the Minnesota Wild on the money line. Zach Phillips saying money on the board here for this one, J-Laz. Oh, I get it with the bet. Yeah. Anything else? You want to tease something for next week?
Vic is telling me, oh, yeah, we will have Pat Ferschweiler joining us on Monday's show, the head coach of Western Michigan. National
Pat Maroon's son just committed there yesterday.
I saw that. We're definitely going to ask we're definitely going to ask Fersch about that. I actually texted Patty yesterday just to say congratulations. Obviously, that's honestly everything I know about Pat Maroon. I don't know Anthony at all, but I could see them being Western Michigan guys. Like it's just for some reason, like knowing Pat Ferschweiler, knowing Patty Maroon, like that just seems like it fits. So I'll tell you this, Pat Ferschweiler, unbelievable personality. One of my favorite coaches that I've got to know at the NCAA level. He's been a coach in the NHL as well. I think he will continue to get NHL head coach interviews in the future and opportunities, but we'll see if he takes them.
He seems intimidating.
He has presence. What I would say
scared
about Fersch, he's really not like that, though. He's one of the boys. Like, he really is one of the boys. But Fersch has presence. That's why Furch could be a head coach in the National Hockey League and walk out of college into an NHL room, because he has presence. He's one of those guys that, like, you could put him at the head of a Fortune 500 company or an NHL team or a college team. People are going to get in line and follow him because he has presence. So I hear what you're saying, but it's more presence. And I think that's an important thing. Some have it, some don't. So hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. You'll have DFL at noon. You'll have the sheet at 1 p.m. Get in the audio download space, get those reviews going, leave us your comments on the chat, and we hope everybody has a great weekend. We'll see you all Monday morning.
What's up, everybody? Thanks for tuning in to Morning Cup of Hockey here on the Daily Faceoff YouTube channel. If you enjoyed the show, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you never miss an episode. And don't forget, we've got more great hockey content every day. You can catch DFO live at noon, and stick around for the sheet with Jeff Marek at 1 p.m. right here on Daily Faceoff. Until then, keep your coffee hot and your takes hotter.